उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Continuing with the instructions of Kapila Muni to his mother Devahuti on the subject matter of the glories of devotional service. In this verse, Kapila Muni again reiterates the higher position of devotional service when compared to the impersonalistic viewpoint or the activities of the impersonalist Mayavadis. So devotional service is always greater than that. Few verses before also the same thing was told, that Bhakti hi siddher gariyasi. Devotional service is always superior to the so-called mukti or just liberation from this material existence and merging into the Brahman effulgence. Here, like the first line itself, न एकात्मतां में स्पृहयन्ति केचन. The pure devotees न स्पृहयन्ति, do not desire ekatmatam, becoming one with the Supreme Lord. They never like it. But what do they like? Mat pada seva abhirata madihaha. Mad-ihaha. Mad-ihaha means endeavoring to attain me. Devotees, they also like to attain the Supreme Lord, but never to become one with the Supreme Lord, but to be engaged in service of the Supreme Lord, especially Mat-pada Seva Abhirata, service to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. This is what devotees like. They never like to merge with the existence of the Supreme Lord. And what other activities they do? Ye anyonyato bhagavatah prasajya. Bhagavatah means referring to pure devotees. What do? Prasajya. They assemble together and anyonyatah, amongst each other or between each other, sabhajayante, they glorify the activities, pastimes, qualities, characteristics, everything related to the Supreme Lord. Sabhajayante mama paurushani, especially they glorify the glorious activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what Kapila Muni is telling. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives a complete picture of what Mayavada stands for and what pure devotional service stands for. In maybe few other verses later we'll be seeing, Kapila Muni goes on to explain the varieties or the various kinds of mukti or liberation which is there, which are 5 in number: Sayujya, Samipya, Salokya, Sarshti and Sarupya. The devotees of the Lord, they are not interested in any of these. They are not interested in any of these. If at all it is given to them, they are ready to accept the latter 4, Sarupya, Samipya, Salokya or Sarshti, but never, which one? Sayujya. Actually, they are not interested in any of these things. Wherever they are, just being engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, they are happy. But in spite, they are still offered something, Sarupya, Samipya, they may be ready to accept, but never they will be ready to accept Sayujya, becoming one with the Lord. Other things they may accept. They want to be engaged in the service of the Lord in varieties of relationships. It may be Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. They want to be intimately related with the Lord. These are all compared to like all these varieties. There is sugar cane, and then there is sugar cane juice, there is molasses, there is crude form of sugar, there is refined sugar, there is sugar candy, varieties of more and more relishable things devotees are interested in. But merging into the existence of the Lord is like tasteless, some whatever, kashaya or not even salt, ganji, whatever. It will be like that. When so many varieties of activities related with the Supreme Lord, which gives so much of pleasure to a devotee, he never goes for the tasteless or varietyless, merging in the existence of the Lord. A devotee is never interested in that. Because following that path also is very difficult. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kleshaha adhikataraha Klesho adhikataras tesham avyaktasakta chetasam. Those who are inclined to this avyakta, impersonal, unmanifested, and all of those descriptions are even kutastam, achalam, dhruvam, all those things, controlling their senses. This is a difficult path. Devotees never try to go in that path at all. And also, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions about the quotation of Prabodhananda Saraswati, wherein he says, Kaivalyam narakayate. The impersonalists, the Mayavadis, they think, giving up this material existence, all birth, death, old age, disease, everything, they'll be out of this. All varieties of activities, everything, nullify all these things and merge with the existence, and this is the highest. Brahmananda, the highest happiness, this is what they consider. But the devotees, what do they say? The same Brahmananda which the Mayavadis are referring to, it is worse than a hell. Devotees never like that. Why? Because in that Brahma Jyoti, merging our existence in Brahma Jyoti, the active principle of the spirit soul is destroyed, cut off. The spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is always active, engaged in some or the other form of activities. And when it is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, it derives the highest happiness. But when this form of service or activity is cut off from that spirit soul, it is hellish. That's why in another part of the Bhagavatam it is said, Aruhya krichrena param padam tataha patanti adaha. Even after great endeavors, the Mayavadis, impersonalists, they rise to the platform of Brahma Jyoti, merging their existence with the Supreme. They have to come back to this material world if they have not taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So these are all very specifically stated in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So now, Prabhupada also describes what do the Mayavadis say? What is their philosophy? What do they actually practice? Prabhupada says here how even the Mayavadis, they also worship the Supreme Lord. They may worship other devatas also, like Ganesha, Surya, Durga, other devatas also they worship. They worship Lord Vishnu also. But what is their understanding? They say that for time being, now that we are in conditioned state, for the time being, we are supposed to worship. Imagine one form of some deity and worship the deity so that you will be able to concentrate your mind, fix up your mind on one object, and when you are sufficiently trained up, then you can reject this process. Only for time being you can worship some deity, and once you are established or self-realized, then all these worship, service, all these things are not required. Then you can meditate on the effulgence of the Lord. You can become one with the Lord. Then this worship and all is not required. This is what they say. Only for beginners, all this temple worship, all these things are there. But for elevated people, all these things are not required. This is their philosophy. And also how they don't accept the form of the Supreme Lord. They say the highest is that it is Brahman, no form, and we also go and merge into that being. That's it. And they also give a lot of wrong interpretations to the Vedic literatures. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has warned. What's the verse he says? Yes. Mayavada bhashya sunile haya sarvanash. For any endeavoring transcendentalist, spiritualist, if at all he hears the commentary given by the Mayavadis, by the impersonalists, then haya sarvanash. His devotional, whatever endeavor he is doing, he'll never be able to reach or attain the highest position. Or if at all he attains, it may be after many lifetimes, after frustration, and after later coming in touch with a pure devotee, there may be chances that he may come to spiritual life again. Otherwise it is very difficult, and whatever advancement he has made, even that advancement also he loses. Haya sarvanash. So you should be very careful. Now, few more very important, very instructive sentences from the purport I'll read out again. Srila Prabhupada says, the greatest pleasure is to serve the Lord. Devotees are always thinking about how to serve Him. They are always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of material existence. Very instructive. So this is the way devotees of the Lord take pleasure. The greatest pleasure, how do they take? By being engaged in the service of the Lord. And some service is given, simply they are doing? No. They are always planning, designing in their minds various ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord. How the Lord will be satisfied, how He will be happy, how I can please Him. He continuously contemplates on these things and designs various ways and means to achieve this. And sometimes it may happen, he has some design, he has got some plan how to serve the Supreme Lord. But what to do in this material world? A lot of obstacles will be there, a lot of problems will be there, a lot of deviations may happen, but still he doesn't get deviated. With full endeavor, with full heart, whatever obstacles may be there in the material existence, still he endeavors to satisfy the Supreme Lord by rendering service unto Him. This service gives him the greatest pleasure. Let us recollect few instances, examples of great personalities who engaged in such service and derived great pleasure from such services, in spite of whatever obstacles they faced during this endeavor. The first thing I could remember was of Madhavendra Puri. We are hearing the same pastimes in the CC reading also daily. How Madhavendra Puri, for himself, he did not even ask for food with others. Ayachita vritti. At least some of them, they go and beg, sannyasis, they go and beg from others for their food. Madhavendra Puri, for himself, he had taken the vow of ayachita vritti. Not even asking food. If at all it comes on its own accord, he used to take. Otherwise he used to not even ask for food. That was his standard. But when Lord Gopala instructed him, immediately he was ready to execute the order. Lord Gopala came and told him that because of staying in the scorching heat, in the bushes, not being protected properly, I am feeling very warm. In spite of whatever you bathing me with thousands of water pots from the river from the Yamuna and nearby water, still I am not satisfied. Can you go and get the sandal from Jagannathapuri, sandalwood paste, and apply on me? Then I will be satisfied, I will be cooled down. So immediately Madhavendra Puri took off. He started the journey. In that whatever not caring for, just to bring that sandalwood from that Malaya province or Jagannathapuri, he had to travel thousands of kilometers by walk, and the travel through the jungles, through the forests, and obtaining that also is not easy. A lot of permission from the government, all those officials, things will be required. And even after we get that, the weight, we should carry the burden and travel all the way back to Vrindavana. And in between, a lot of tolls, officials will be there, taxes will be collected, and especially there were many provinces governed by the Muslim rulers. A lot of problems were there. He did not consider any of these things. Gopala has ordered me. He is uncomfortable. So how can I rest? So the same day he started off his journey. And we see how again and again Gopala came and instructed him. Lord Gopinatha came and instructed the Pujari in Remuna, and how the Lord accepted the service of Madhavendra Puri. So this is one we can see. Likewise, the Acharyas in our Parampara, like the recent Acharyas, if we see, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he wanted to spread this message to the entire world because it's the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance from the mortal world, physically was when Mahaprabhu left, a lot of deviations happened, and of course few of them were there who were practicing it sincerely, and maximum people used to think it will go around, spread here nearby, maybe in the province of Bengal, Orissa, and maybe maximum maybe in India. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur had this faith that yes, it is being predicted, it is bound to happen. So he was trying. So what did he do? He published books related to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction, the precepts of Lord Chaitanya, and started sending it to the libraries in the Western world. So that someday some intelligent person may read this and get attracted to the philosophy, the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and take it up. So he did that. And then after that, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he saw the Indian railways in such an organized way. They are able to manage it and give service to the society. So he thought, why not spirituality, the teachings of Mahaprabhu should also be spread in such an organized way. Then we may be able to reach out to maximum number of people. And later we saw how Srila Prabhupada, on the instruction of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even during his Grihastha days also, when he was in Allahabad, Prayag, there he was helping the building of a construction of Gaudiya Math there. He was publishing Back to Godhead magazines, and the latter part of his life going to the Western world, what all hardships he took, we see in the history. So these are how great devotees taking great pleasure to serve the Lord, always thinking about how to serve Him, always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of material existence. Obstacles will be there, problems will be there, but in spite of that, serving the Supreme Lord gives a devotee great transcendental pleasure. Then, another point Srila Prabhupada makes in the purport is referring to the scriptures as fictitious. What do the Mayavadis tell? They say that whatever the stories which we find in the Mahabharata, in the Puranas, in the Ramayana, all of these are fictitious. It is a fiction, it's not reality. Some speculation, some stories, but no, they are all historical facts. Especially here, the word used in this verse is Mama Paurushani, the Lord's glorious activities. Others may say it is fiction, all of those things, but devotees take the description as mentioned in the Vedic literatures as truth. Those are all Mama Paurushani, the glorious activities of the Supreme Lord. They always think they contemplate, they glorify how Lord Ramachandra built a bridge to Lanka, how Lord Krishna constructed the fort of Dwaraka, how Lord came in the form of half man, half lion, in the form of Narasimha from a pillar and killed Hiranyakashipu. How the Supreme Lord came as Vamana and took away the possessions from Bali Maharaja. These are all something wonderful, glorious activities of the Lord, and the devotees take pleasure in describing, glorifying, hearing about all of these wonderful activities of the Lord. Sabhajayante mama paurushani ye anyonyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani. Prasajya, they assemble together, and sabhajayante, they glorify the activities, pastimes of the Supreme Lord, having faith in all of these descriptions. What is that faith? It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudhrida Nishchaya Krishne Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. If I practice bhakti or devotional service as given in the Vedic literatures, especially in the Bhagavatam, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all of these things, then everything is done. There is no requirement for me to endeavor separately for my spiritual advancement. Just by rendering devotional service to Krishna, all spiritual perfection is guaranteed. This is the faith required for a devotee. On the other hand, the Mayavadis or impersonalists, they don't have faith on the Supreme Lord. They don't believe the glorious activities of the Supreme Lord. That's why their path of spiritual emancipation is very, very difficult. Klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavad viravapyate. So devotees, they do not follow this process. And also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says in the last, it is clearly stated by Kapila Muni that bhakti activities or activities in devotional service are transcendental to mukti. This is called Panchama Purushartha, because the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. This is what the Pravritti Marga teaches, step by step process, because we condition living entities in Rajoguna, Tamoguna, step by step. How to elevate a person from Tamoguna to Rajoguna, from Rajoguna to Sattvaguna. There is a gradual process. But the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita prescribes to us the Nivritti Marga. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. And also Bhagavatam says, dharmasya hi apavargyasya nartho arthaya upakalpate. Dharma is meant for apavarga, going back to Godhead. Not that dharma is meant for earning money, and to that earned money, kama, I'll satisfy my desires and gradually I'll step towards moksha. No, the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita prescribes to us the direct linking process. Direct devotional service to the Supreme Lord and become purified and become eligible to go back to Godhead. Therefore, bhakti is independent of all the other processes. The devotee is directly in touch with the Lord by glorifying His activities in Mathura, Vrindavana and Dwaraka. So this is the difference between a Mayavadi and a pure devotee of the Lord. We'll end with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.